Hello, everyone. Today, hold on one second. Let me just adjust my mic here. Okay. No, wait. Is it? Okay. Today I'm going to be talking about childhood memories. We're going to take a trip down memory lane. This is going to be a long podcast style video. I might barely edit it, so it's just really raw and authentic and natural and just, how I talk. So grab a drink, some food, or whatever, clean your house, get your cleaning products ready. I don't know, put your headphones on, your earbuds in, and just relax and enjoy these funny stories that I'm going to tell you from my childhood. I'm going to be talking about times when I could be considered a naughty child. Not naughty in a sexual way, okay? No pedophilia allowed on this channel. I just mean naughty like bad, but naughty is like in a playful way, like bad, like when I was a bad girl, but like a bad kid, I should say. Not, that's creepy. Anyways, when I was a bad kid, but not really bad, like when a kid is bad, but it's like stuff that's not really bad. It's like just kids being kids and doing kid stuff. And it's funny. It's funny to think about it and talk about it when you're an adult. At the time, it was mortifying. At the time, when I got caught doing bad things, it was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. This is the end of the world. But now it's like funny to think about the times in your childhood when you were bad. So I'm going to be telling you about that. But first, before we get into that, I have a special announcement. So I have decided to lower my price of my conversation classes. Okay. So I'm not going to give a specific number in this video because I want this video to be immortalized and I might increase the price in the future, but you can click the link in the comments or you can go on my channel page and you can see how much my conversation class currently costs, and you could read the description and everything, see what it is, what it entails. But basically I have decreased it a lot since the last time or the first time that I announced that I'm doing conversation classes again. So it is the lowest price right now that I've had in like at least 2 years, if not more. If you were thinking about like you want to take conversation classes with me, or you just want to try one and see how it goes, and you were not liking the price, you thought the price was too high, then maybe this is your chance. But if you still think the price is too high, well, I don't know what to tell you. It's my price, okay? It is what it is. So no amount of complaining is going to get me to change it. So just so you know, but it is a lot lower than it was. So it's a bit more accessible now. All right. So I just wanted to let you know, I do conversation classes and the price has been lowered. So just so you know. All right. Now back to the video. So I wrote a list of all kinds of stuff that I could think of from my childhood that were like bad things that I did. I feel like it's not a complete list. Like I feel like there's a lot of other stuff that I'm not remembering that maybe will come to me later and maybe I'll have to make another video. But I wrote a nice little list here. So I'm just going to go through the list and I'm just going to go one by one and tell you about each memory that I have. All right. Sound good? Okay. So the first one, I was an only child until I was about almost 6 years old. Like I was technically 5 when my brother was born, but I was like almost 6. So I was used to being the only child. And I've always been someone who just played by myself most of the time. Like I've spent most of my life alone and just playing by myself, being by myself. And that was just totally comfy and normal for me. Like I would play with friends sometimes, neighborhood kids and stuff, but friends from school or whatever. But a lot of the time I just was playing by myself, and I loved to play outside by myself and just kind of, I don't know, wander around the yard and like look at stuff and check things out and stuff. And I realized one day that I don't know if it was like my parents who showed me this, but I don't know. Basically, I learned about the concept of weeding, like weeding a garden, which is to like take all the weeds or the unwanted plants out of your garden. So like to take all of the all the plants that grow in your garden without your control, and you want to remove them because you only want to have the plants that you chose to be in your garden. So we call this weeding, or taking out all the weeds. So I learned about this concept of weeding and how you can take plants and you can rip them up out of the ground so that the whole root comes out, the whole entire plant comes out of the ground. And I thought this was so incredibly satisfying, to rip a plant out of the ground, roots and all. Something about it, incredibly satisfying. I never felt guilty for it, because I never felt bad about it, because well, the plants are not sentient, you know, they don't feel pain. They don't have brains and nervous systems. You know, this is just basic biology 101, but also there's no clear sign, there's no indication for, you know, plants to suffer. So, you know, I was a very empathetic kid. I could never like hurt an animal, but I definitely enjoyed ripping plants out of the ground and never felt any remorse about it. So I discovered this, but the issue was I couldn't tell the difference between a weed and a specific plant that my mother wanted in her garden. Like she didn't really have a garden. She just had like garden beds, like flower beds around the house, like right around the edge of the house. She just had like flowers and like ornamental plants, right? Just for like the look, right? The aesthetic, the decoration. But I don't know, in my young brain, I couldn't tell the difference. Like I didn't know what was the plants that my mom wanted and what were the weeds. Like I couldn't tell the difference. I didn't know. And I was just playing outside by myself. And I basically just started pulling out my mom's plants, and I thought I was weeding, and I thought I was doing a good job. Like I didn't know what I was doing. And then later I was in the house and I overheard my mom talking to my stepdad, and she said, "Oh, what happened to my plants? They're all ripped out of the ground. Maybe the neighbor's dog got into them. Maybe it was the neighbor's dog just destroying my plants." And I thought that was amazing how she never considered that it was me. She never thought it was me. She just thought it was the neighbor's dog. Yeah. Why would the dog rip out the plants, like roots and all? I don't know. It wasn't just like digging. It was like totally ripped out. I don't know. But I overheard her saying that, and I was like, oh shit, that was me. That was me. But I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get in trouble. I'm embarrassed. So I didn't say anything. So I don't think my mom ever knew that was me. But I never did it again. I learned my lesson. Yeah, my mom was a bit naive as a mom. Like she always gave me the benefit of the doubt. Like she never assumed I was up to no good. Like she always thought like I was a good kid and I wouldn't be doing something bad, like for the most part. Like unless I was being rude to her directly, like unless it was right in front of her face and she witnessed it, she would just assume that it wasn't me. Like I don't know. It never crossed her mind that I was doing these mischievous things. So that was probably one of the first memories I have of being bad. The next one, I was taking a shower and I got out of the shower or turned off the water or whatever. I was also a little kid, very little. This is like, these memories I have are from my first house that I lived in, which we left when I was like, maybe like 6 years old. So all of these memories right now that I'm saying are from like younger than 6. So I was getting out of the shower or whatever, like toweling off and whatever, probably just like bored, just playing around in the bathroom. And I started to try to hang on the shower rod, you know, the rod that the shower curtain is on. So I was trying to hang on the shower rod like a monkey because I liked hanging on bars when I was a kid. And of course the shower rod broke and it fell down, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh no, I broke it. And then I had to go tell my mom because she would have known it was me. Like who else was up in the shower? Not the neighbor's dog. And so I go tell my mom with my tail between my legs. That's an expression to say like I was like embarrassed, ashamed. I go to tell my mom, and she was like, I think she was like a little distracted or on the phone or something. I don't know, but or in a good mood or whatever. I don't know. But she was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. That shower rod is bad. It falls down easily." And I was like, "Oh, phew." Like I was like, "Oh, okay, that's good." Because I thought I broke it. So, these cute things felt so bad about. Anyways, okay, next one. Okay, this is something that my stepmom told me. So I grew up, like, especially in the first like 8 years of my life, I grew up with two houses. So one house was my mom and my stepdad, and my other house was my dad and my stepmom. And I shared these living places. Like I would spend Mondays and Tuesdays at my mom's, Wednesdays and Thursdays at my dad's, and I would alternate weekends. And I lived this kind of 50-50 split schedule. So I was also raised a lot by my stepmom. My stepmom was kind of like a second mom to me. And she has a couple stories that she always likes to remind me of. She always tells me from when I was a little kid. And my step-parents were in my life from the time that I was a baby. So I viewed them as like my parents. Like I viewed them as like my family from as long as I could remember. So my stepmom, she likes to tell me the story of how I one time went to go to the bathroom by myself, and I was very little, right? Again, probably like 5 or under 5, like maybe like 3 or 4, like very young. And I had the idea of wanting to stand up while I pee because I wanted to try to pee like a boy. I guess that's what I said. And I wanted to try it. And this makes sense. It seems like something I would do. And so I tried to stand up in front of the toilet and pee like a boy. And that didn't go very well. And then I don't remember exactly what happened, but obviously my stepmom, she found out and she's like, you can't pee like a boy. But now that I'm an adult, I realize that even boys or men shouldn't be peeing standing up, because if you think that there's no problem with peeing standing up, it means that you don't clean bathrooms, because, why would you pour something into a cup like from here? Why would you pour like this when you could pour like this? Like imagine like the toilet is the cup, and then you're standing up and you're pouring something into the cup like at that distance. It doesn't make any sense. We don't do that with any other thing. So why do we think that peeing standing up is okay? It's not. Men, boys, they can sit down and pee totally fine. So now that I'm an adult, I realize, like, for the sake of the people who have to clean bathrooms, there's no reason to stand up even for boys. But obviously it's easier for boys to stand up than girls and pee. But that doesn't mean that it all goes in the toilet, because it still makes a mess often. So, but obviously with girls, it's much more difficult to pee standing up. So there's that story. Another one my stepmom always reminds me of is one time I was petting my cat. I think it was my cat, Elmo. I got a cat when I was 2 years old, and they asked me what I wanted to name the cat. And I said Elmo because I was 2 and I loved Elmo. Elmo, like the red monster from Sesame Street. Yeah. So my cat, Elmo, and my cat, Elmo, was the sweetest cat. Like, he was timid and he would never bite you or scratch you. Like, Elmo was like a scaredy cat, literally. Scaredy cat is like an expression, like, to mean like someone who gets scared easily. But in this case, he was literally a cat, a scaredy cat. So it's kind of a joke there. Anyways, so my cat, he wouldn't have done anything because it was Elmo. And somehow I knew that, I sensed that. But I was petting Elmo, petting him, like touching him like this, caressing him. We say petting. I was petting Elmo when he was eating his food. And my stepmom said, "Don't pet the kitty while he's eating." And because I guess that he could bite you or something. I don't know. And I turned to her and I lifted my finger, I think, and I said, "I will touch the kitty," or something like that. Don't tell me what I don't want to do. I don't know. I probably said something like that. I think that's what the story is. But yeah, I had a very I want to do what I want to do nature always. Sometimes I was afraid of my stepmom when I was young. So not of my mom. I was like not afraid of my mom at all, but I was afraid of my stepmom sometimes. So sometimes I would not resist or like defy what she said. But in that case, like sometimes I did. But I always had this very like, don't tell me what to do kind of personality. That's just the way I am. I've always been that way. I think the first time I got in trouble at school, I feel like they made it such a big deal and it wasn't really that big of a deal. I think there was like at least a phone call to my parents, if not like a letter. I think they literally sent me home with a letter to my parents. Like it was like some big deal, some formal thing. And looking back, it was like, I think it's ridiculous. But I guess it was like the weather where I'm from, it was kind of like rainy, snowy, and then muddy, because when there's a lot of water that mixes with the dirt, it turns into mud. And so it was very muddy outside. And we were outside playing at recess time. It's like when we all play outside after lunch, all the kids. And I guess we were informed not to play in the mud, or we were not allowed to or told not to go play in the mud or in a certain area of the playground. I don't remember the warning. I mean, I don't remember being told this. Maybe we probably were. I just didn't pay attention or something, or I didn't care. But anyways, me and some other girls, some other classmates, peers, we played in the mud and we got all muddy. And I really don't remember this. Like, I don't remember what it actually was like. That I think it was in kindergarten or something, or no, maybe first grade. I think maybe first grade. So I don't actually remember, but all I know is I have the memory of like going home and having like a talk with my parents that night at the table about like me getting in trouble for playing in the mud. And I think I didn't really get in trouble by my parents. Like, I think my parents also thought it was kind of ridiculous. And my mom was a kindergarten teacher as well, but at a different school. So, she understood everything that was happening when I was that age. Like, she was very familiar with all of the stuff and what it's like to work at those schools and stuff. But I don't remember getting scolded for that or getting in trouble for that. It was, I think, because I was such a good kid at school, and I did very well at school, and I got good grades, and like I was usually like the best kid in the class in terms of grades, and like I just was very good at school, like the different subjects of school, writing and reading and math, and like I was very good at it, and I was usually pretty well behaved. So my parents always had this kind of attitude of they didn't expect me to do anything wrong. And so if I did, they were just like, meh, like they were just like, and they definitely punished me at home for other things. Like, my mom was always getting mad at me about other things at home, but not stuff at school. Like, I almost never got in trouble because of stuff at school, because I just was expected. It was just expected that I am like a good kid at school, and I do well at school, and they don't need to worry about me. So like, my parents never had to tell me to do my homework. I just did it, like, so there was this kind of understanding that I am a good kid at school. So when I did get in trouble, it was like, I think they were laughing. I think they thought it was funny too. Or like not a big deal, So I got in trouble for that. Playing outside in the mud. Yeah, I think I just didn't care. I was like, my friends are playing in the mud, I'm going to play in the mud. So, then the next thing I did bad, this is a really bad thing. I'm actually kind of not embarrassed about this because I was like 6 years old, but this is a cringy thing. This is a bad thing that, is more serious. So basically, we had this new kid at school, and he was from Russia. He just immigrated to the US from Russia. And his English wasn't very good, right? He knew some basic things in English, but he didn't really know much English, I guess. At least that's what it seemed like. And this was in first grade, remember? So I remember we were outside at recess, and this is where all the bad stuff happens at recess. And I remember some kids, some boys, right? It's always the boys that started stuff like this. Some boys in my class were laughing and joking about how they were telling him things and he didn't understand. So they were telling him things like, they were telling him to shut up. They were saying, shut up to this Russian kid. And they were laughing because he doesn't understand. And I don't know why, but I joined in. I joined in, and I think I said shut up to the kid also, like once. And I don't know if all the other kids got in trouble. I hope they did too. All I know is I got in trouble for participating in that. And that was a bit of a more serious thing that my parents talked to me about. And because, yeah, obviously that's not okay. But yeah, I didn't start it, but I did join in. I did join in on that one. I don't know why. I don't know why I joined in on that. Oh, I don't know. But anyways, that's another thing that I did. That's another time I was bad. Another thing, I always used to bite my nails. I was bored a lot in class. I was always bored at school, and like the entire time I went to school, I was bored at school. And so I used to fidget. Like I used to play with things. Like I used to play with squishy things, squishy stuff, or I used to like bite things. Like I used to bite my pencil. One time I ate like a whole pencil. I can't believe I'm saying this. I ate a pencil except like everything except the lead. Horrible shit. Like I used to have a pencil and I used to bite on it. You bite it, and first you bite the eraser, and then you bite the metal piece, and then you get down to the pencil, and then you start biting the wood like a freaking beaver, and you just bite, and then all of a sudden you have this tiny little pencil. And I don't know. I don't know if I just ate the wood or I spit it out. I don't know. I might have eaten pencils. Like I might have just completely eaten pencils. I probably did. I probably did eat pencils. I was so bored at school, and so like, it's not that I had ADHD and I was just like, oh my God, I can't sit still. I don't know. I don't think so. I think I was just so freaking bored and like didn't want to be there, and just so bored. And the only thing I could do to cope with it was bite things. So I used to just bite my pencil. I used to bite my nails. And so my stepmom wanted me to stop biting my nails. She said, it's gross. I mean, it's like germy. She said, it's germy. Like there's germs you're getting if you are putting your fingers in your mouth. So she clipped my nails. She clipped them with a nail clipper. So there was no reason to bite them. It's not like nobody was clipping my nails, but I just bit them anyways. And it was like really hard for me to stop biting my nails. And one time she took my hand and she said, you're biting your nails again. Like I told you to stop biting your nails. And I lied. I tried to lie about it, but it was the worst lie I could possibly think. Like it was so bad. I'm a person who cannot lie. I cannot lie. And if I tried to lie, like when I was a kid, it was a horrible lie. Like it was so bad. So not good at lying. But I think a lot of kids are like that. They think they're lying, making a good lie, but saying a good lie. But parents, they see right through it. Like parents know that kids are lying most of the time when they're lying. Yeah, because in our kid brains, we think that it's a good lie, but it's not. So anyway, so I told her something stupid like, oh, like, because it was wintertime, like, oh, when the windows on the bus, they get all fogged up, and then they get like ice on them or snow or something. I don't know. And I was scratching the windows, trying to clean the windows, and that's why my nails look like that. I was scratching the windows. No, I didn't bite them. I was scratching. I didn't bite my nails. Oh my God. She was like, right. Okay. And then, okay, that's all I can remember from when I was little. I'm sure I did a lot more stuff, but that's that's everything I wrote down until about 6th grade. I have this memory of being in 6th grade, specifically sixth grade. Basically, this was my first year of middle school. So we have elementary school, and then starting at 6th grade, you have middle school. And then you have that for about 3 years, and then you go to high school, which is 9th grade. And then you're there for 4 years or whatever. So that's how a lot of the school system is in the US. Maybe not everyone, but that's how a lot of them are, I think. So I was in 6th grade, my first year of middle school. And this is when school started to get a little bit stricter in class. And then also I started to get more and more talkative in class, like chatty with my friends. So essentially I had some good friends in my class, in my 6th grade class, and we would sit in the back and we would just talk. We would just joke and laugh and talk and make jokes and stuff. And basically the teacher, it was this man, his name was Mr. Curran. He was this like big man, tall, big man. And he was like, he was fed up. He had enough. He was listening to us. He was hearing us chat and laugh and stuff in the back and not paying attention. And he was done. He was done. So he said, he called me by my name and my friend's name. He called me and my friend and he said, write your name on the board. So we had to walk up to the whiteboard and we had to take a marker and we had to write our names on the board. Now, this is just like a symbolic thing. It's basically shaming us. It's basically a way to stop the class goes silent and everybody's looking at us. And it's this big dramatic thing of writing our names on the board like, oh, they're in trouble. But nothing happened. We didn't have to go to the principal. We didn't get any punishment. We didn't get detention. We didn't have extra work. We didn't I don't even know if the teacher talked to us. Maybe he said just like, don't do that. Cut it out or something. I don't know. But we didn't really have like a real consequence other than just the shame of walking up to the class, the whiteboard, the class board, I was going to say, the whiteboard, and walking up in front of the class and writing our name. That was the whole punishment. I guess it's effective, the shame of doing that. I don't know, but yeah, it probably was effective. I probably didn't talk that much in that class again. But yeah, I specifically remember that because that was my first time that was like my first oh shit moment at school where like, oh, I got in trouble because I wasn't used to getting in trouble. I wasn't used to being that kid that gets in trouble because like, yeah, I had this idea of myself that other people had of me, teachers had of me, parents had of me. I had this idea of myself like being a good kid at school. So that was the first time I was like, oh, I am actually getting in trouble. I'm actually being like a bad kid at school, but not really bad, but just, because like I said, I was so freaking bored at school all the time. I was so bored in class that I just wanted to talk to my friends, socialize with my friends. And this happened all the way through high school. I remember in a few of my classes in high school, I had some close friends that we used to just laugh and giggle and the whole time. I had this one friend, Sarah. There was one class where the teacher was so relaxed and like basically the only thing we had to do in that class was just be on our laptops. Yes, the school gave us all laptops and it was like school property. Like we didn't get to keep it. It was just for school use, but we all had laptops. And then in that class, it was all just about like writing an essay all the time. So it was like an essay writing class or something. So we were just supposed to be doing that. So we basically got a free pass to just be on our laptops the entire class. And we would just go sit in a corner and be on our laptops and pretend that we're writing the essay and researching and stuff. And really, we were just like playing games on our laptops with each other. We would just play pool, pool, like a pool stick, pool table is green with the balls. You have to with the numbers on them. Yeah, we used to play pool. I think it has different names in like England or other countries, but in the US, we call it pool. So we used to play digital pool online, but with each other. So we would play games against each other on our laptop and we just laugh and giggle and like take photos. The teacher probably knew what, we were doing, but they just were like, whatever. Like I don't know. We got a free pass. So, and then that girl, Sarah was a good friend of mine. We played sports together. We played field hockey together. We played basketball together, and we were in a lot of the same classes. And she was super goofy, and I was too. So we were just always joking around. And she sat next to me in Spanish class until the Spanish teacher moved us because we were just talking way too much. And that was sad when we got separated because it was just so fun. It's so fun. That was some good memories in that class. So I liked to talk a lot at school and to talk to my friends and not pay attention. And yeah, what can I say? I don't understand the kids that just like sat quietly all the time at school. My brain was rotting. Like I just felt like school was making me stupid and it was wasting my time and it was killing my soul. So I had to talk to my friends. Another bad thing I did, this was bad. I should not have done this. My brother was born when I was 5, almost 6. And I remember when he was about like maybe 3 years old, around there, like 3 or 4 years old. He used to sometimes fall asleep in the car, sitting in his car seat. And I was sitting next to him in the back. And sometimes I had this strong temptation to peel back his eyelids. No, that sounds weird. To like lift up his eyelids and expose his eye while he was sleeping. Like open his eyes while he was sleeping. Like, isn't that horrible? Why did I do that? So I did it like a couple times, I think. I couldn't resist the temptation. So, and normally for the most part, I treated my brother very well. Like for the most part, I wasn't like a mean big sister. Like I loved him and I cared about him and I had empathy for him. So most of the time I treated him nicely. Like most of the time he treated me worse than I treated him. Like he was like a little brother that liked to, instigate stuff sometimes. He liked to like tease me and stuff. But for the most part, we always had a good relationship. We liked to play together. But for some reason, a couple times when he was sleeping, I opened his eyes and I don't remember him waking up. I feel like he just went back. He just like stayed sleeping, which was so crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I feel bad about that. I should not have done that. But I don't even know if he remembers. So he was sleeping. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I had that urge, my intrusive thoughts. Another thing that I did that probably a lot of people can relate to, a lot of kids and stuff. I don't know. Like our parents used to buy presents for us, right? Whether it was for birthdays or Christmas. Christmas was a big one. We knew we were getting a bunch of presents and our parents had them hidden somewhere. And I always knew that my mom kept my presents in her closet. And she didn't really do a good job of hiding them. They were just in her closet. And so I would go in there when I was home alone, or if my mom was like busy doing something or whatever. Like I would sometimes sneak into my mom's closet and look at the present. Even when I got old enough, I would get off the bus at my house alone, and I would be like home alone until my mom came home from work. And yeah, I would go in her closet and look at my presents, look at my stuff that wasn't wrapped yet. It was just out in the open, and I would look and see some of the stuff that I was going to get for Christmas. Because I wanted to know, and I couldn't wait. The temptation was killing me. So, and this is what I mean about my mom being kind of naive. Like she had to have known that I would do that, but I feel like she just chose not to think about it. My mom was weird like this. Like I remember one time we were out shopping. We were out at a store and I saw this CD that I really wanted to get, back when we used to listen to CDs. And it was like Christmas time soon. So my mom was like, okay. And she put the CD in the shopping cart, but it was supposed to be like for Christmas. Like she didn't let me have it right away. She put it in the cart and she's like, okay, it'll be a Christmas present. You have to wait for Christmas. And then I was like trying to look at it, like trying to look at the CD. She was like, don't look at it. She was like buying it right in front of me because I told her I wanted it. And she was like, don't look at it. It's for Christmas. My mom was so silly, like so weird. I don't know why. She liked to pretend. She liked to make this illusion in her mind of like, I don't know, or I don't see it. I'm not aware, but I obviously was. And then that continued as I got older. And I was very fortunate to get an iPod. I had an iPod. I can't remember how old I was when I first got an iPod, but having an iPod, I mean, before that I had a CD player, but there was something about having an iPod that I could put like any music from the internet on it. There was something about that. And then later when I was about 11 years old, my mom and my dad, they came together and they split the cost of a laptop, and they bought me a laptop. And that was very privileged. Like most of the kids my age at the time did not have their own laptop. So that was like a really special thing. It helped that I had two households. I had two families, like my mom's house and my dad's house. So they only had to pay half of the cost. So they split it. So it didn't feel like the whole cost of the laptop was a burden on one household. So a lot of the times I got spoiled. Like I got a lot of material things growing up because because I had a lot of family. I had 4 parents and then their families. So I had a lot of relatives. So I always had like a bunch of different Christmases and birthdays. I had literally 2 houses, 2 bedrooms full of stuff. And also they were all able to split the cost on more expensive things like a laptop. So I was very fortunate. But I got a laptop when I was 11, and before that I already had gotten an iPod. And having my own personal iPod and laptop allowed me to access music and shows and movies and whatever I want on the internet that was stuff that my parents would probably consider to be inappropriate stuff that is vulgar, stuff that is not suitable for children or young people, like stuff that my family probably would not approve of, that I was free to access and listen to and watch. So from a very young age, I was listening to, I mean, basically from the time I was like 11, I started listening to a lot of like hip hop and rap music that was very vulgar, had a lot of profanity, sexual things, drugs, a lot of things. Like, I listened, I was very drawn always to rap music. I don't know, like a lot of kids, they grew up and they went through like a rock phase. They got into rock. I never had a rock phase. I was into rap. Something about rap always was so fascinating to me. I loved it. So I was into rap a lot in my teenage years, and rap is quite vulgar, and that's what I listened to at like 11 years old, 12 years old, 13 years old. And my parents knew that I liked listening to rap, but they didn't really understand. They didn't actually hear what I was really listening to. You know, they only heard like maybe a couple radio censored versions of these rap artists, but they didn't really know what, if you listen to the explicit albums of these rap artists, what it actually is. They didn't really know. And I think they didn't want to know. You know, it was kind of like, oh yeah, she likes that rap music, but I don't know, but whatever. Like, I feel like they knew it was probably bad, but they didn't want to know. Or they just let me listen to it. And then I had total freedom with my laptop. There was no parental restrictions or controls on my laptop. My mom never checked my laptop. She never checked to see if there was anything on it. I used to clear my history anyways, but I think there was just a lot of trust. I think my parents, they trusted me a lot. They knew I was a good kid. I did really well at school. Also, I was a girl, not a boy. So I feel like they just kind of like let me do what I want, and they didn't expect that I was doing like bad things. I was just a young kid. I was curious about a lot of things. I was curious about certain vulgar things and profanity. I was curious about language. I was curious about adult things, adult activities. I was curious about, like, for example, I always wanted to watch the show Family Guy. Family Guy is a little bit vulgar, but I never could watch it on TV in my family's house because you can't watch that in your living room, your family. around and stuff, your parents. So I used to watch it on my laptop. I used to watch like content for, like adults and teenagers and stuff, some inappropriate movies and things. But I learned a lot. I will say I learned a lot, and I don't think that it scarred me. I don't think that it traumatized me. I think real life situations as an adult, like getting into things when I got older, was traumatizing. Like, I feel like actually doing things, actually having real life experiences was what might have given me trauma about certain things, but not looking at stuff on the internet when I was 12. Like, I don't think looking at stuff on the internet when I was 12 gave me trauma. I think, if anything, the crazy things I did when I was 19 gave me trauma, So I don't think it like scarred me. I don't think that it messed up my brain development, or I don't know. I mean, it probably had some impact, but I think it was fine. I was smart enough to know the difference between like what exists and what you should do, right? Like, I would listen to rap music that was very misogynistic and homophobic, but it didn't make me misogynistic or homophobic. Like, I knew how to differentiate between like the music and how you should be in real life. So it never like really, I don't think it made me violent. I don't think it made me, I think it was just like a release. It was like because I dealt with a lot of anger and, strong emotions in my teenage years. And I think it helped me deal with these feelings, or like have an outlet. I think that's why a lot of kids like rock or heavy metal as well, as like to help like escape and deal with these emotions. So so I think it was great for me. Like, I mean, I loved it. I feel like I needed it at the time, and I have no regrets there, but I just wanted to share that because that could be considered as something bad that I did, that I was allowed total freedom with, music and media and everything. I had a laptop, I had an iPod. I probably wouldn't give that to my own child at that age. But that's what I had. And, I certainly learned about a lot of things a lot earlier than other kids did, especially other girls, I think. I think boys got into a lot of things a lot earlier, but yeah. So is it ideal? No, but it's what happened. And then the last thing I wrote on the list is just probably the most general way that I was getting in trouble, that I was bad when I was a kid. My mom was just constantly scolding me, yelling at me, getting mad at me. My mom, and I've talked about this in another video, my mom had a lot of personal issues. My mom had a lot of anger, and she had a lot of issues from her childhood, and she did not deal well with anger and with I don't know, with life. She struggled with life, and she in some ways she was a great parent, in other ways she was not. And she struggled with how to deal with situations, and she created a lot of problems for herself, and then just would get upset about the problems all the time instead of just changing the root of the problem. And me and my mom, we were like oil and water. We didn't mix. We were constantly butting heads. We were constantly, I was constantly like resisting her and like telling her like how she was doing things wrong, and how I don't like that she married my stepdad, and I don't like him, and I don't like, well, nowadays we have a good relationship, but back when I was a kid and a teenager, I did not like him. I mean, when I was a teenager, I did not like my stepdad. And I would get mad that she's all stressed and angry about him, and she could just divorce him, and she's like mad at me. And I was just, anyways, I had a lot of issues with her, and I told her, and I would always tell her, and I would just be totally honest. And she couldn't handle that. She hated that. And she was always yelling at me and telling me not to talk back, telling me not to be fresh, to be smart, to be wise. Like, these are all the ways they express like basically not responding with attitude. She was always saying that my tone was bad. She was always, and yeah, I was rude a lot to her, but I was rude because I because I felt like I was living in a prison. Like I felt like I didn't want to live with her, but I had to because I was a child and I didn't like being controlled. I didn't like being told what to do. And I thought she was dumb in a lot of ways. And my stepdad, I thought my parents and everybody was stupid, and I didn't want to listen to them because I thought like they don't know what they're doing. Like they're so foolish, and I don't respect them. I don't take them seriously. And anyways, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff I'm trying to summarize here. But essentially, I didn't really respect my parents and my mom, and I definitely made it clear. I definitely made it clear that I didn't respect her. And of course, she hated that. And because my mom had an anger issue and she didn't know how to deal with her anger, she was always yelling at me. And then that just made it worse. That just made me more angry with her. And it was this continuous back and forth cycle of fighting. So, and my mom died when I was 14, but up until then, most of my childhood, I was kind of like bad, especially from like 8 years old until she died. So there was a good, like the last 6 years there, like from 8 years old to 14, our last 6 years together, I was, I was getting older, and things were starting to get worse and worse between us. But I think if my mom were alive today, I think we would have a good relationship, like a decent one. Not perfect, but not maybe ideal or amazing, but I think we would have a good relationship today. I wish she were here, but we definitely did have a lot of problems in my childhood. And I often felt like I was a bad kid, in her eyes. But I knew she always loved me unconditionally, and but she definitely struggled to feel that sometimes. I think when when we were so like fighting so much, I think like I never felt like she stopped loving me, of course, but it was hard to feel sometimes when it was so problematic, the relationship, but I was very cruel to her as well. But it was just because I was young and I had a lot of pain. I had a lot of pain for various things, various reasons. And then I was angry at her and blamed her for that. So, not just her, also my stepdad and my dad and stepmom and everybody. So, but nowadays as an adult, I have a good relationship with my stepmom and my stepdad. Not with my dad. I don't talk to my dad. But that's a whole other story. I have talked about that in another video on here on my channel. But yeah, basically, that's everything I wrote down on the list. There are, I'm sure, many other things that I did that were bad, like absolutely. But that's just what I wrote down. Some funny stuff from my childhood that I can remember that I wanted to share today. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned some things in English, or you just enjoyed these stories, podcast style video. If you like these kinds of podcast videos or me talking about my childhood, like please let me know in the comments. Like every time you leave a comment telling me that you like these kinds of videos, it really helps me see the support and prioritize making more of these videos. Like it really helps me get a sense of how much people enjoy these types of videos. Because I love making these kinds of videos, but I only want to make them if like people really are wanting them. So, because, I could make typical traditional English teaching type videos on my channel, but I feel like, and I think a lot of you agree, I don't know, they're a little boring compared to these kinds of videos where I talk about life and me and my life and what I think about things and stuff. So, I would love to just make videos like this, but I don't know if there's enough support for it. So yeah, never feel like your comment, if you leave a comment on my video, it's pointless, because it absolutely, like, I look at most of the comments and I definitely take into consideration like every person who says that they like a certain kind of video and they want more, and it really does help me a lot. So if you can comment on my videos, like I would appreciate that. So all right, so Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching until the end, as always. And I hope you have a wonderful, fabulous, fantastic, amazing day or night. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.